Hello, hello. We were just saying we don't get
it hasn't come up to say that we're live.
Hasn't it?
Normally does.
It's live. It is live. Got 32 people watching already.
Oh my goodness. 32 people already?
Already. Even just before they were getting ready to go. Hi, Angela Holland. Hello, hello. Emily Long.
Top of the shop.
Hello, Emily. We see you. I don't know. I must start writing down lists of people's names. Laura's here. Laura Shillham. Hello. Annie Hogan's here. Sarah Woodvine is here. Hello, Sarah Woodvine. Maggie Thrussell. Hello, everyone. Hello. Shirley Wagman's here. Hi, everyone from Canada. Karen's here. Gosh, everyone's early tonight. You are. Except us.
Typical.
Libby from Shetland's here. Hello, Libby. What's it like up there? Is it blowing a hoolie or is it rather nice? Leah's here. Good morning, all. Working on photos to post. Good, 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 good.
Excellent. Remember,
in the guides, no, not in the guides, in the featured section at the top of the page is that image or that photo that shows you of all the different shots that we need to help us.
And a tip, get the camera lens low for the ground photos. Get on the floor. If you can.
Get on the floor.
As long as you can get back up again.
That sounds like I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. We should have had that the other week.
But I get up again. Oh,
yeah. We should have had that song the other week. That could have been our theme.
Who sings that? This is not James, is it? Who sang I get knocked down, I'll get up again? Aston's here. Saubona from South. Saubona. Is that right? Have I said that right? Oh my God. What was it? Saubona. Saubona. And Nemshi? No. Swimshi. And then Ola Bonoa. Hi, everyone, says Dawn. Anne Blake's here. Hello, all. Jeanette Welsh is here. Hi, Ola. Good morning, everyone from Australia. Good morning, good morning. Wide awake, It's 5:15 in the morning. Goodness me. Tracy Gray's here. Hello, Tracy. Sandra from Czech. Hello, Sandra from Czech.
I think we're seeing Tracy at the weekend. I think we're seeing Tracy at the weekend. Unless it's a different Tracy. You know what my memory's like and what I'm like for games.
No, I think you could be right. I'm just looking at stuff here
let me have a look.
Tell us if it's you, Tracy. Sandra from Czech. Leanne Fairgrieve. Ooh! First timer. Here she is. She's first timer. Very interested in this way of hoof care. Marvellous. It is a way. It's not a method. We make it very plainly clear this is not a method. We didn't decide upon this. Mother Nature did. So we are doing nothing that is personal preference. None of it. We are following what the horse needs. So there you go. Welcome aboard to the madhouse. And Chopra's here. Am I saying that right? Chopra. I don't know. Good afternoon from Comox in BC, Canada. Meta's here. Good evening, all. From Denmark, Dawn's here. And of course, Dawn's here. I've just said hello to Dawn. Welcome, Leanne. Welcome, Leanne. Welcome, Leanne. Everybody says welcome, Leanne. Therese is here from a sunny Sweden. Yes. All I can say is France is out of the doldrums. We are suddenly in sunshine. It's been warm today. Today and yesterday. It was warm yesterday. But today mainly, and I managed to get quite a lot of washing done because I'm doing my chauffery, my chauffe. Have you seen my chauffe floor, Gary? I've got a new chauffe. Right. Well, I
think that was being done the day I left.
All the heating's down and the ragriage is down and all of that's ready. So it's just ready for, I've ordered the tiles. Anyway. I couldn't get into my washing machine. I can now. So I've piles and piles and piles of washing I've got to do. Welcome, Leanne, says Aston from South Africa. Catherine Brown's here. Hello, Charlie Brown from the US. Is it US or Canada? I can't remember now. Lisa Charles here. Hello. Hello. Angela Holland says, I wonder if they will go through some posts on the page tonight. There are some good ones posted. I haven't looked today. Have you looked today, Gary? I haven't been in.
Not a great deal, I have to say.
Then maybe we shall. That might be a good idea, that we might just do that. Sandra says, welcome, Leanne. Michelle Roberts, good evening from Portugal on day 10 of the challenge. Whoop, whoop. Well done, Michelle. I hope you're enjoying it. Tell us what you think. Is it everything you expected or more? Please do. Oh my God. I hope so.
Don't say if it was less.
Sarah Woodvine's here. Hello. Kelly Moore, Chumbawamba.
That was the song.
Oh, was that the song?
It was from Chumbawamba.
Was it Chumbawamba?
Yeah,
I
was.
get knocked down, but I get up again.
I was going to post it up, but Kelly beat me to it. She is on my fireworks. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. Leah's here. Gary, I grab hold of a donkey leg if I lose my balance.
Oh, as long as they're not ninja donkeys, we're all right.
I called one of the YouTube videos. Let me show you this that I put up today. I put it up the other day, but I've just managed to get it sorted out on YouTube. Find your words, Lindsay. Find your words. Find your words. So just look at this. Look, I've called it. Trimming ninja donkeys.
Look
at the ninja with the donkey.
That's awesome.
It's hysterical. Oh my God, I love Canva. Tracy Gray says, I'm going to the Cheshire one. Oh, she's going to the Cheshire one, Gary.
I've just swapped it over because I saw your message. You've gone from one register to another register.
Ah, there you go. He's good at that.
I thought I got it wrong, Tracy. I thought I got it wrong. So I moved you from Galsworth to Longmarsh. Then I saw that you paid for legs. And I thought, well, I haven't sent the Galsworth people the message to say pay for your legs. Because I do that when this one's over. And then somebody else must have sent you the link, which has completely thrown me.
Oh, dear. Poor Gary.
But it's all good now.
Excellent.
It's
wonderful.
All good now.
Yeah, Cheshire's going to be a big one. Julie's here. Oh, yes. Hello from Two Screens in Scotland, in Aberdeenshire. Hello, hello. Jenny Cox, good morning from Australia. Do we know you, Jenny? If you're new, if you are ever new to the lives, show yourself. Show yourself and let us know that you're new. G'day, mate, from Oz.
G'day.
Look at it. I love all those little things. Lydia Dubinow's here. Good afternoon from Ontario in Canada. Catherine says it's Virginia. That's right. Now I remember. Virginia, USA. Dawn says, weather here good for tomorrow. Cutting hay at the weekend. Yay. Great. Looking forward to hearing all about it and how many bales you managed to get. Hello from BC in Canada. Quite a lot of people coming from Canada. Quite a lot of people coming from Canada, which is amazing. Erin's here again. Hello, Erin from Ohio. Monica's here from Czech. Hello, Monica. Good to see you. So, what are we going to do today? God knows. I don't know.
We're gearing up. I know I shared it with you, but did we share it with our lovely Phoenix Warriors? The foal slipper.
No, I don't think you did.
I don't think we did.
No,
Have you all seen a foal slipper? Because I have to say, if the mare is a little bit protective of baby, which you could quite understand, it's very difficult to get close. So one of my clients, mare, had a foal in the late hours of Saturday evening. And she sent me a picture of foal and one of its foal slippers. So let me share my screen. Share screen. Come on, Gary, get a grip. Window. There he is.
Oh.
He was less than 24 hours old there.
Oh my God, he's so lovely.
Isn't he?
He's so lovely.
I don't know what his name is yet. And this muzzle is Daffodil, his mum. And look at that. Isn't that cool?
That's brilliant. I mean, that's like you see it on
nature at its best, isn't it? Protecting the mum whilst the baby's in the womb, so he can move about and not rip her to pieces.
That's right,
and
and
then,
it's not just.
And they fall off in just a few minutes, don't they?
Well,
They're not there for very long at all.
Yeah, yeah. Not, and I believe that not all hooved animals have them, but most ungulates do. So cows and deer, etc. And they're called various things, aren't they? Golden slippers, gold nippers, golden slippers, feathers, foal feathers, gills. I think some people call them gills, and they are. Okay. Yeah, because they look, and they're long projections. Are they called a ponychium or something like that? I can't remember, something like that. Which is a part of the skin system, because we have them, don't we? We have it right at the top here, above where our cuticle is, and yeah, it's there during the time that the hooves. I mean, it's Mother Nature's incredible, isn't it? Where the hooves are being created in the womb, and yeah, they believe it's there to stop the uterus being torn by the hooves as the foal moves around inside, as the fetus, moves around inside and grows. And then when the foal's born, they just shed off. And to see them, honestly, you've got to be like Flash, because they disappear so quickly. Because also when they're not moist anymore, they just disappear into the sole. It's like a combination of sole material that hardens off. They don't just all, yeah, it's incredible stuff. Yeah, really incredible. Really, really incredible. Thank you for that. And who was that again?
Jenny Q.
Oh. I've just done I'm just doing a Google search now for the different names, and another different name is fairy fingers.
Oh, I've not come across that one.
Fairy fingers.
And what made me recall it, and I thought we haven't shared that on the Phoenix group, was I had my tutorial today with Emma Nicholson, and of course she's got a 2-week-old foal too. So we had a good chat.
Foals, how lovely. We love foals. Melanie's here. Melanie Perrin. Hello, guys, from Pennsylvania in the USA. Hello. Deb Jacks is here. Hi, all. Dawn says, fertilized hay this year with an organic plant-based product called Rocket Grow. And interestingly, it's made from rye, maize, and barley. Looking forward to the results. I want to know more about that. How interesting.
That is interesting.
More news, please. Mother Nature knows best. She does. She absolutely does. Susie French is here. Hi, Susie. Hello from sunny Wales. Off to look at a potential field tomorrow where I could have a track. Part of Tilly Bean's toe has fallen off and she's not sound.
Oh dear. That's the second one I've heard of today.
Yeah, it's a process. It's all a process. Yeah, and when we know, don't we, that Tilly Bean hasn't had just recently, over the last year or so, hasn't had natural hoof care, and so now it's a process of her recovering, but she'll get there. She's fine. She's just feeling it when toe is not in play, so she'll get there. Don't worry. Have faith. It's all going to happen. It really is. Gemma Rolanda's there. Hello, everyone. Hello. Sarah says, a girl at our yard has a Connemara with hoof wall separation disease. I just wondered if you would treat this in the exact same way as any other hoof issue. Up to now, the toes have always been chopped. She has recently been on a lot of grass and now has mild laminitis. I'm really hoping the owner joins this page. Right. Now, this is down to, they believe, a faulty gene where you start to get separation in the hoof wall. But we've always talked about on these lives that what we see is diet trumping genetics pretty much every time. That if you get the right diet and management, you tend not to see these issues. Now, why is that? Why would that be? Well, because we have lots of things that are, you know, going to express themselves in the hoof genetically, and this is one of them. But rarely do we ever find out whether well, we do know, but rarely do we ever find out whether these animals have been kept naturally. It's quite rare that, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen that happen. And every Connemara that I've ever known, we have kept them as naturally as possible with natural hoof care, always with natural hoof care. So it's an interesting thing, isn't it? If you are not going to keep the hoof care correct and you're not going to keep the diet and management correct, and then you all stick your hands up and go, it's a real thing. And it is a real thing. It's not something that is made up. But what happens when we change the diet and the management and the trim? So let's hope she joins and let's see what happens. Because doing things against Mother Nature is just going to make things doubly worse. What did we say the other day? Genetics loads the gun, and diet and management
pulls the trigger.
So think on that. Dawn smells like cow slurry. It's no way to talk about Gary. It's no way to talk about Gary. Smells
I'm
like
clean today. I haven't been out getting hot and sweaty with horses. I am nice and clean and smell fresh as a daisy.
I can't verify that, folks, because he's a few hundred miles away from me.
It's all right. We're going to have smell-o-vision soon.
Yeah, I reckon that'll happen. Oh my God, it feels like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory all over again. So this is this rocket grow. It smells like cow slurry. How interesting. Interesting. Might be cow slurry. Cows that have eaten it all of those things. I finally caught alive. Yay! Says Emma Daly. Woo. Sarah says owner is definitely leading towards track system, so I'm hoping she will follow the rest. Well, won't that be interesting? We would love her to go and do that, get on a track, keep things naturally trimmed, all of that. Then let's see what happens, shall we? Epigenetics. Indeed it is. 100%, Sandra, epigenetics. Because what does that mean? It means that we do have gene expression. We do have things that are going on in the body. But when we do certain things that aren't necessarily natural, it will express itself in a different way. So, yeah, I'm not sure. And I've always not been sure that if we change the diet and the management, it's not just going to fade away. What are you taking photo out of?
You.
Why?
Be real.
So
there's me, and I had to hold my camera down here so it looks as though I've got about 10 chins.
I did notice that you were doing that. I did notice that. Okay, so where are we? Karen, it's all about the gut biome. They inherit their gut bugs from their mothers, same as us, but a good diverse diet can improve your gut flora.
For sure.
And what do we do with these animals? What do we do? What we do is we keep them on naturally from the very, very beginning. You know, oftentimes foals are not we, but the equine world, oftentimes foals are kept in stables for great lengths of time when they're born. They're born in stables, they're kept in stables with their dam, and then they get put out, but not with other horses because they're a bit afraid of the foal getting hurt, and so they're actually out in little patches, not natural. The mare's eating lots of grass, probably on a lot of bagged feeds and supplements, of course, because she's been pregnant. And it's not a great start. And many foals don't even see somebody to come and do the hoof care for until 2 sometimes, and beyond that, in fact. So it's not a great start. If we can start these animals off properly, I mean, look at nature. Nobody goes in there and gives them bagged feeds and supplements, and yet these mares in the wild, and let's talk about the Great Basin, they are carrying a foal every year, heavy foal, and they're still managing to keep up with the herd. They're still manage to run across all of that crazy rocky terrain, and they do just fine. They do just fine. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Susie French, if you have a track system, does it need to be wider if you have a kicker? She wasn't a kicker when I had a track a long time back. She only kicks Pixie Child. Well, what you tend to do is you can have narrower traveling areas and wider, and other areas where they loaf about, you can make it wider. So it's a combination of wide and narrow. We don't like them when they're too wide, because in the traveling areas, because it's just too much grass. So what Pixie Child will learn is that she doesn't go near her when she's on that side of the track. She turns around and runs the other way. So it shouldn't be a problem. And on the narrow areas, we usually say about 1.5 meters or 2 meters.
Well, I always say that you want it, depending on how many horses you've got as well, but you want it to be at its narrowest, so your biggest horse can turn around comfortably. So that's almost 3 horses traveling side by side together. So it's not that wide, but people think they need much more space, and they generally don't. But if you've got 20 horses on a track, then obviously it would need to be relevant to that too. But most people that are doing it for themselves, we're talking 2, 3, maybe up to 5. So it doesn't need to be that wide in the traveling areas, but the loafing areas, your feeding areas, places where they really love to roll, and things like that, then they can be wider. And also it makes it more interesting. It's not just a fixed distance all the way around, and yeah, it just makes it more interesting.
And you know,
a bit more environment enriched, so to speak.
Yeah, and like, you know, most people will go and they'll follow a whole hedge. They'll follow a direct line down a hedge. You don't have to do that, actually. You can go down the hedge and then you can come out. And the track, you know, you might have to have 2 sides of it, or it can just come out suddenly in the middle and bulge, boop, and then come back down in again. You know, we tend to just think, oh, straight run, corners. But you can do all kinds of things. You can even have, if you have the imagination for it, or rather, if you have the ability to electrify all your inner and your outer fences, you can have a path coming down which suddenly goes into 2 and then comes back together again with a little nugget of ground in between that they can't get to. So you've got 2 paths that come back down into 1. You can do all sorts of interesting things, because what we're trying to do here is mimic a little bit more about of what they might get up to if they were wandering around an area in the wild and increasing that movement. 5. That's 5 horses, right? Is that what you're saying? So you don't need a massive amount of land.
Don't need a massive amount of land, no.
No, you don't. Randy's here. Hello, Randy. Evening all. Evening all. From the Netherlands. Randy says, didn't make me popular with the ponies today. I pulled the grass from the meadow to create a grass-free track. I personally think it's a good idea, but I don't believe the ponies. Emma says, do you have much success with an out and back track? Hay at one end, water at the other end. Try to optimize very less than ideal situation. So what you're saying is that it stops. So they go out and it stops. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. In fact, one of our students has an out and back track, and they goes in both directions from the main field shelter area, which is kind of a big loafing area, and then it goes out, but she's got like a little wooded area as well. And then when it gets to the end, she kind of does a little bulb at the end, so it's a bit wider just in case. And the reason that we say that these aren't ideal, but they're better than nothing. They're not ideal because horses, we don't want to trap any horses, at least when it's a continuous loop, no matter how that loop goes on. You know, it might be a figure of 8. In fact, that means that the horses can then travel on. They don't get trapped in any areas, and they may not be trapped where they're getting beaten up or anything, God forbid. And also, when the horses are on a track, they're going to be more chilled out. They really will be. And of course, that also depends on the hay too. But they just might be just stuck because they can't go past, because this one's eating hay here and it's like, no, you're not coming past. And this is like, oh, please. So those are the sorts of things that we find as an issue. In fact, there she is. Yeah, I'm talking about her. She's got a out and back one. So any comments, Shannon? Please add. Love the track ideas. Yeah, brilliant. My track is a bit of a maze. Mineral block at a dead end, so they have to walk all the way around to get out. You do what you can, but it's evolving. I think that they evolve. You have kind of a plan.
Always something you want to do different. You get it set up and you think, oh, now I've lived with it and the horses have lived with it for 6 months. So what can I do to make it better? What can I do to change it? Where is there a really wet bit in the winter that I'd like to sort of like deviate from? There's loads of things, and you can add things. You can put poles on the track, so they end up doing their pole work when they're traveling around the track, and it means you don't have to. Not that I would say that you don't need to do that, because horses love working with us too. It's just a mix. It mixes everything up. It's just amazing.
It is. Honestly, the world's your oyster.
It is.
Your imagination is your world, yes, which is your oyster.
You're only limited by your imagination.
Yeah, that's what you're only limited by. And some would say money, but not necessarily. You can, plastic posts and wire fencing works really well. The cheap, you can go for cheap. It doesn't have to be crazy. And of course, it doesn't have to be massive. I think people always when they start, they go too wide and they go too long. So variation's the key. Variation is the key. Christine Luger is here. Hello, Christine. Do we know you? Have you been here before? Hello from WA, USA. Is that Washington? Is that Washington State? I believe it probably is.
Don't know that one.
I was like,
I just got lucky yesterday.
I think you did. Sarah Woodvine says, hi, Shannon. Anne says, I'm trying to get the husband to move so I can have land with a track system. This is how invested I've got. You laugh. We have known many, many, many people to move house so that I did myself, so that you can actually buy land so that you can do your dream. Yeah. I mean, Tim, my partner, is like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, you look for houses, you horsey people, and you're more bothered about the land than you are about the house. I'm like, yes, that's right. That's great.
Of course.
Like, I don't understand. Why would you be like that? That's not relevant. I said, it's totally relevant. That's what we look for. Just bothered about the land. House, don't care. Tent, live in a tent, don't care. Doesn't understand it, but we understand it, don't we? In fact, we're dealing with we've got one in Cornwall at the moment, a poorly horse that we're dealing with at the moment, and they moved house so that they could put a track up and try and save this poorly horse. So We're all at it. We're all doing it. Shanna says, I have a dead end track. It's not great, but it works. It makes them move, and it has to be super wide so no one gets stuck. So there you go. So that's Shannon doing that.
That's because she's got a bossy mare.
She's got a bossy mare, and she's got 2 horses. So the bossy mare and her older recovering horse, Ted, who's doing very, very well.
I was thinking, I've remembered her name, River.
River's the mare, the bossy mare.
Random access memory needs upgrading.
Christine says, thank you. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. First time and Washington. Is that yeah to both of those things?
It was Washington. I searched it.
Aha. I'm taking the 15-day challenge, but my first live, Lindsay. Brilliant. Where are you on the 15-day challenge, Christine? Tell us all. I'm moving to Eastern Oregon, which is the edge of the Great Basin.
Oh, nice.
So that would be south. Would that be for you? Because isn't Washington State up in the top western corner of the US, right on the border of Canada? Is that right? I'm so sorry. My geography of the US isn't brilliant. Meta says, I saw a picture on some other hoof pages that the heels were sort of rasped towards the heel bulbs. Rocker the heels, I think they call it. I don't see HM do so, and I would love to hear what it does to hooves. Great question. No, we don't rocker hooves because horses don't either. And we only do what the horses do. We don't do what they don't do, right? So rockering heels became quite popular in the barefoot world 20 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I'd say around about that, when certain people were heavily into thinking about the back of the foot as being encouraging the back of the foot to come down, heel first landings. And they believed that one of the things that would encourage that is to rocker the heel. So as the heel's coming down, you kind of rocker the heel. It was a kind of mishmash of in laminitis, trying to keep horses to sort of, you know, if you rocker the back of the foot, they can rock back. And that's where clogs eventually were born from, and rocker shoes, where allowing that horse to rock back, because it was noted, wasn't it, in laminitis, that horses will stand there and seem to lean back. Well, the reason they're doing that, it was always told that it was because they had pain from their lamini, right? So it was because P3 is meant to be tearing through the cap, so it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that by laminitis, as in it doesn't do that by dietary laminitis, or it does it because of what's happening at the heels. We've talked about that before, and we'll talk about it again, no doubt, a million times. But where was I? Yes, so the leaning back, so they try to encourage horses to rocker. But we know that when you have a horse that's leaning back, what they're trying to do is they're trying to put, because they've got P3 in a positive position, they're actually trying to get P3 back into a normal alignment with their bony column. But they can't because the heels are too high. So if you rocker the heels, it kind of lets them rock back. Well, that's the theory anyway. But in actual fact, the easiest thing you should have, or the best thing to do in that scenario, would be just to take the heels down to the heart sole plane. Not always easy if you have compacted heels. That makes it even more tricky to understand. So it's a mishmash. It's a combination of various things, but you will hear things on a normal foot. When you see a foot that's actually quite fine, you'll find there'll be barefoot people who will rocker heels on good feet, normal feet, every single time. Like, it doesn't matter. They just always rocker the heels. And then you'll get like the same as people who will chop the toes off on ordinary fine feet as well. You know, this whole, we've got to chop the toe off to improve breakover and stop the toe from tearing. And yet they do it on every single foot, right? because they don't even believe that a horse's normal foot that isn't separated, that's doing absolutely fine, can manage. They need to chop that off too. So there's loads of different reasons that are all kind of mashed together at a mashup of why we rock at heels. And you don't need to do it, because horses don't land heel first naturally. And when horses land heel first, it's because they have got a higher heel, and because that they are not balanced correctly, and their stride isn't, the whole stride, that's all 4 feet hitting the ground, isn't optimum because of hoof care, you know, various other things that are making their horses' feet sore from diet and management, etc. So if you don't do all of those crazy things that people do to the horse's foot, and you just observe horses' feet that actually maybe haven't had a lot of hoof care because they don't really need it, you're like, why haven't you rocked the back of your heels then? You're not rockering the back of your, yet they're telling me that you should rock your back of your, you're not rock. It's like, Mother Nature? Yes, Lucy? Yes? What do you want to say? I'm very busy right now. I know, it's in the board meeting, right? They're in this board meeting and they're working out what we should do with the heels. What should we do with the heels? Now there, everybody, I've brought you to this board meeting today to discuss heels, right? How much of the heel do you think on this beautiful odd-toed ungulate should we have on the ground? Mother Nature? Yes, Lucy? Well, I think that it would be good if all the heel was on the ground. You know, I think that might be quite good. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Anybody else? Anybody else? Hi. Yes, Jeff. We've not heard from Jeff before. Yes, Jeff, what have you got to say? Hi. Hi, Lucy. Yeah, I think actually we should rocker them. What do you mean by that? I think we should take that triangle, and I think we should just kind of make it curved at the back. Why would we do that? Well, I'm not really sure, but I think it looks good. I think it's cool. Jeff, go and make me a cup of coffee. Off you go, boy. Lucy, I think that was a great idea. I think we're going to go with the whole triangle on the ground all the time. Is that? Yes. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry. Thank you, Mother Nature. Thank you. She's so sweet, Lucy. She's so sweet. You let Jeff, she'll have a cup of tea. Don't forget Lucy. So, what we must do is we must follow Mother Nature. That's what's important. Mother Nature knows. They don't rock her heels. But it's a really good question, because, you know, the really difficult thing when you are a pro, actually, and you do follow the natural foot, is that you will come across so many people who say, you've got to do it this way. You've got to do it that way. You've got to rock her heels. You've got to chop the toes. You've got to leave the bars. You've got to leave the quarters, or you've got to scoop the quarters. Oh my God. So many things that you can do to the foot that the horse wouldn't do naturally. And you just have to go, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for that. But just like Lucy, I don't think it's a good idea. Mother Nature certainly didn't create the horse's foot to be rocketed at the back.
Also, just to add to that, when you look at the hoof from underneath and you just run a light rasp across, you know where the waterline is. The waterline is the hardest part of the foot, and at the heels, the triangle has got the most waterline. So the hardest part of the foot that's made is at its most at the heels. So if the hardest part of the foot is at the heels, why would you take it away in a certain angle when the horses don't? It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
I'm trying to find a picture of exactly that.
All right.
you go through the comments. Let me see if I can find a picture. Come
Oh, I
on,
don't know where you
Lindsay.
got up to.
Dawn said.
Oh, that was Rocco.
Dawn said, Lindsay, you should be an actress. And who the hell is Jeff?
Well, Jeff
He's
is
in
a
the
new
board
character
meeting.
that yes.
We could have men in the board meeting. He was in the board
But
meeting with Mother Nature.
just for the sake of people like myself and Randy and David and John, the man in the board meeting is not always allowed to be stupid. Okay?
Oh, okay.
You're allowed Mother Nature, I'll give you that.
I promise that I won't. Okay, I've got a good photo for you. You're going to love this photo. But it does kind of illustrate it quite. I don't know whether that one. Oh, I don't know now. Just don't know whether that one. I'll show you. Let me show you this. Because you probably like this anyway. Just because you like looking at it. Because some of you won't have seen this. Gary's like, oh, what are you going to bring up on the screen? Here we go. So this is great, isn't it? This photo. This is just such a great photo. This is obviously a half and half. And I have to hold my hand up. This wasn't trimmed by us. This was given to us. But we do a lot of half and half. But this is such an extreme example. It's really excellent. But what Gary was talking about is that the inner, it just happens to be such a perfect inner hoof wall as well. So where we've got this white part is the inner hoof wall, and as it comes around to the heel, it extends, and you see far more of the white. And in this one, actually, and it is flat, so you can't really see it very well. But in this one, it doesn't fully extend over the heel. But in actual fact, in most horses we see that the white inner hoof wall, which is the strongest part of the hoof, actually extends over the majority of the triangle. So what we're seeing here, you will get the pigment around the outside here, because that is the outer hoof wall, because that the bar has the outer hoof wall, the inner hoof wall, and the white line. So you're going to still see that, but you're going to see much more, as you can see here, inner hoof wall taking over the heel, because, you know, that's the strongest part of the foot. So don't fiddle about with the heels. But look at this. Look at where the natural bar finishes here. Do you see this? Do you see this area here? You can see my little crosshair. And look down here where this bar, this is the heel this poor horse was walking on. So here it is, totally underrun. That makes a massive, I mean, that's where it was. And I mean, I don't know how long. I mean, obviously, incredibly overgrown. They never took its shoe off. And then obviously it died, or they put it to sleep. And this is what was left, this big horse's foot, you know, like this. It's crazy. But here is the heel region. Here is all that bar. But in actual fact, the true bar is here. But all of this is just excess material. And it's all underrun and kept growing and coming further and further underrun and taking the shoe with it. And that's why people say, they say it a lot, don't they? They say, I've heard crazy things. I've heard, you can't leave a long toe on a horse because it pulls the heels forward. Right. No, that's when it's overgrown and it's not pulling the heels forward. It's just that everything grows in that direction, because that's the direction that the horn tubules grow in. So everything, so as the heels grow under, the toe grows forward. It just, yeah, it's not the long toe being sort of, you know, it's dragging the heels with it or anything like that. Or that's just a strange, interesting, odd, incorrect term. What's actually happening, as you can see here, this beautiful foot underneath that this horse deserved to have. And look, barely any stretch at all. barely any stretch at all. So and no bleeding in there. So if this was all true about them tearing the lamina, well, this horse would have ripped its foot off, surely, but it didn't. But the long toe we're talking about is when the horse is rehabbing and they have a big lamella wedge, sometimes out as long as this. The hoof wall can come all the way around and it can be quite as long as this with this wedge in the way. But the heels haven't been dragged forward with it. The heels are back where they should be over here. So you've got your heels coming around, and then you've got the true sole, and then you have this lamella wedge, which gradually grows out. But I just thought you'd like to see that, because this one doesn't have a lamella wedge per se. It looks like it's a bit stretched here, but this is because it was what we found underneath, or what was found underneath when it was trimmed. It would need to have a bit of time to march around before you saw what was properly going on. But look at that. It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. And what does that mean for the horse when it's underrun like that? Well, then it's because the bones inside aren't moving, guys. The bones inside are all where they should be, except for P3 getting more and more rotated if the heel is in a higher position to increase the dorsal angle of P3 if there isn't enough toe. Probably wasn't in this case, which is why we don't see quite a lot of stretch here. It was a little bit higher probably, but not tremendously, because everything was growing pretty much the same rate. And yeah, underneath there, navicular bone was still here where it should be. End of P3 was still here where it should be, at a centimetre in front of the tip of the frog. But this poor horse was walking with his feeling like his bones were in a completely different position to where his where his hoof capsule was. So it's crazy. Isn't that cool? How did we get there? What were we doing? Oh, we were talking about heels, weren't we? Matt's right.
That was all come from Meta's question about walkering heels.
See if I can find another one.
Isn't that good?
It is good. Let's see if I can find another picture of exactly what we've just been talking about. So, yeah, we don't rocker heels. I bet Meta's like, okay, guys, I get the idea. We don't rocker heels. Oh, there's a lovely picture of Asher there, but here's another one. Let me just have a look, see if this one works. It's got to download, though. Oh no, that doesn't work because it's unpigmented. Anyway, shall we move on? Let's go back to the comments. Blah 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 blah. Oh my god, how far back are they?
840.
840? 939. 940. Oh, 940. That's what it reads for me. I'm moving to Eastern Oregon, which is the edge of the Great Basin. We got that, didn't we? La 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 la. Brilliant. Okay, midway. Ah ha ha. I see. I see. Lydia, mineral question. Are these mineral mixes blocks organic or inorganic, and do we have to worry about it? That's a good question. Organic is what they should be. No, you shouldn't have to worry about it, but be careful, because there are synthetic blocks out there, but not generally the cheapy Magox ones. But that's a good question. That's a very good question. And I will have to go back and have a look at mine, actually, to make absolutely sure. But I'm pretty sure Gary's tapping away, that you just, I mean, there are licks out there that are absolutely not organic whatsoever. That's such a good question, Lydia. We're going to come back to you on that, but I think the answer is organic. The ones where you're not getting anything else, you're not getting bubbly gum flavor or chocolate flavor. They're out there, guys. Those exist. Not getting any with loads of molasses in it or anything like that. John Jeeves. Hello, John. Any recommendations for suspensory branch tear rehab? Well, Good trim. I'm so boring. I'm really like a crack record. The correct trim. So that you don't end up having a situation. I mean, that was extreme, wasn't it? Where those heels were underrun and the toe was forward. But you don't want heels to be underrun. You want them to be exactly where they need to be. You need the bony column to be exactly where they need to be. And you need to put the right kind of nutrition into the body. So the right kind of diet and management and gentle movement. Don't keep them locked away. Suspensory, just like suspensory branch, just like any other tear to any other parts of the soft tissue that are holding bones together and holding muscle to bone and that whole articulation where the soft tissues are, they get damaged because horses aren't in their feet aren't in their natural state. And so that immediately puts these soft tissues and the bones under strain. And then the horses are, and I don't know the situation with your situation, but then the horses are potentially kept unnaturally. Oftentimes when they are kept unnaturally, we see a lot of suspensory branch damage in horses that do sports. So anything really, any kind of horse sports where they're not warmed up properly, they're kept in boxes for long periods of time, and they're only taken out to be trained and ridden. So the answer to the rehab is to go back to do oftentimes what that horse was not being exposed to before, which is you take it back to what is as natural as possible. And without knowing your specific situation, that would be my answer to you. Is that possible, John? Christine says, midway through midway through the challenge, I'm leaving lowland laminitis hell of Washington to high desert eastern Oregon Great Basin. Western Washington is south of Canada, is awful place for laminitis. You can't escape the lowland grasses. How interesting. So it's a bit like Cornwall, probably. Yeah, nightmare, absolute nightmare. So you're moving to where it's dry and arid and hotter, I would think. Well done. Jackie, hello, late, but I'm here now, she says. David's here. We sold our fully renovated Victorian forever home to buy a 70s time warp house because it had land. Go figure. Really, though, never regretted it for a minute. Me too. I sold my beautiful Victorian townhouse, which I'd made look, again look lovely, in a lovely part down by the river. It's just lovely. And prior to that, I had a big converted barn, and I sold that Victorian house so I could come to France, so I'd have more land for my horses. And I live in not a chateau. I live in what I call a chateau. Is what I live in. But gradually over time, it's getting built and renovated. But what a heap. It's not much different now when I turned up. It's better, but it's not much different. Good morn, says Joker. Julie says, which is why I called my boy Alex. Dream kitchen right there. Gave that dream kitchen I'd waited 40 years for up in exchange for 70s time warp and a few acres of scrubby neglected land. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. We do it, don't we? We do these crazy things for the sake of our horse. I moan about my house all the time. Moan, never lived like this before. Moan, 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 moan. But then I go outside and go, there are my horses. We moved from our house, David, bought a large static and placed it next to the stables on our farm with the intention of building a house. I'm still in the caravan and feeding my horses in my slippers rather than building my track than a house just now. It's what you do. I've lived in a caravan. I've done it. I've done all sorts of things like that too. You just do it, don't you? You just do. Well, we do. Tim can't understand it at all. He thinks we're completely nuts. Christine says rockering reduces the surface area. Indeed it does. And we don't want to be doing that, do we? You see, you've been learning. You've been learning on that 15-day challenge. Well done. It's good to hear. Pia, we look at all farms all the time. How many other people do that? Just look at this, darling. It's got lots of land. What do you think? No. But this one's got quite a nice kind of house. What do you think? No, we're not moving. I like it here. Well, I want somewhere bigger for my house, my land. Lindsay, for my horses. Lindsay and Gary say that I could put up a track system. Who's Lindsay and Gary? Stop talking about them. You talk about them all the time. It's the worst thing that ever happened. Lindsay, you should be. Oh, yeah, we've done that one. Ah, We Love Lucy. Wasn't that a TV show? What, with Mother Nature and Lucy? I don't know. Don't think so. Randy laughing. Angela
that's
says,
after my comment about Jeff.
oh, I see. Maybe Father Time could be a guest speaker in the boardroom. That's fun. We're going to have Father Time speaking periodically. Who's that knocking on the door? Lucy, go let him in. Lucy. Oh, yes, Mother Nature. Hello. Good evening. Hey, Jenny. How you doing? Don't call me that. I'm Mother Nature, Father Time. Sit down and behave yourself.
Oh, God.
It's all going on in my head. I had a trimmer who did something he called a spiral trim. My mare has a twisted leg, and so he rocketed one heel and left the other one flat. Within a few days, I felt her tendon was very straight. I didn't. Wow. Personal preference trimming. PPT is a phrase that we created and started and coined because it's all about personal preference. It's just made up. Heard a little bit of something over here and a little bit of something over there, and read a little bit of something in a paper, maybe, unlikely, maybe something in a book, and all of it comes together. And the last thing they do is look at what Mother Nature is saying. And what did Gary say yesterday? What did you say about Mother Nature and
yes,
papers?
Mother Nature has been creating forever. And guess what? She hasn't had a paper written after her either.
No.
Doesn't mean she's bloody wrong, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't mean she's bloody wrong, does it?
And when they go and do these papers, do they look to Mother Nature? No.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They don't look at her.
They've lost track. They've lost track.
And they need to get on track. Pardon the pun. John says...
a cynical side of me would turn around and say, well, perhaps they don't want to get on track because they're always trying to find something to sell.
Well, I mean, why do pharmaceutical companies do any kind of form of research?
Exactly. It's almost you've got to follow the money, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we sell a product, don't we? Sorry, I keep jumping in.
You do, it's fine.
You'll be able to put that post up in a minute.
No, it's fine. You crack on. You carry on.
Yes, we sell our challenges, we sell our courses, we sell our 2-year training program, but that's all knowledge that you can keep forever. We don't sell anything else. If everybody did horse and hoof care the way that we suggested, we would be out of business. But guess what? So would everybody else.
Yeah.
So would everybody else. And that is a multi-billion-pound industry.
Oh, it is huge.
Just even think about the metal industry with regards to shoes, just for that. All of the medication that's given out in an attempt to fix stuff that diet and management and treating a horse as it should have been treated can iron out so many problems. Yes, we have the experts that have got a lot of knowledge that can help too in certain circumstances, but it's almost that if it hasn't got a pillar, if it hasn't a bit of tack, if it isn't a bit of metal, if you haven't got something to sell, well, it's all right. We'll just we've got to sell something because it's all about the money.
Mm.
I'm gonna put a question out there, but I don't want an answer. Where is the science papers that say metal nailing metal onto a horse's foot is beneficial to the horse?
Ah, now, so they've tried that, but unfortunately, the cohorts that they used, it you know, talking about heart bar shoes, etc. No,
No,
it's
there's nothing. You can pick holes in everything.
you can pick holes, and like I said, like you pick up a science paper, it's got great big holes in it. You're like, oh, I can see
Yeah.
through. Oh dear, they forgot about that one. Oh, I can see through there. Oh dear, they forgot about that. If you, it's like it's like horses. It's like horses haven't got a nature. You know, we put horses in an environment that is not going to be conducive to health, and then we go and study that ill health in that environment, thinking how are we going to make that better, or not even maybe thinking that. All we have to do, it's so simple, is to go whoop, and you know, take them out of that bad environment. We can still ride them, we can still have fun with them. You just have a better, happier, chilled horse. It's incredible. And I think so many people who get into horses, a lot of people get into horses, and I've seen over the years people being frightened of horses. There are so many people of all ages that own horses and never really want to do anything with them, not even walk out with them. They just want to be there, love them, feed them, and that's it. And us to a certain extent, because we're so busy of late, but that's not how it started. But so many of those people are frightened of horses. They're frightened of them. They make them nervous and make them scared. And yet if you keep them more naturally, you keep them in a herd, it's the experience is stunning, because they all chill out and you have a fabulous relationship with them, and it's so easy, and they just are easy to catch because you're going in and feeding them every day, so they look to you to go, oh, you're a nice person who brings the hay. So they're easy to catch, they're easier to train, they're easier to do things with, they're more chilled out when you go riding with them, or if you're just doing groundwork with them. Everything is set up so differently on an emotional and physical level. It just works, and lots of people don't even get that far. They don't even find that out. Right, back to John. John says, super useful, thanks. And since the injury, he's been out 24/7, hay diet, barefoot trim, and gentle exercise. Whoopie-doo. So you got it right? And I bet that you were like, I'm just gonna stop all this nonsense and let him recover now. Be interesting to see, John. I don't know if you've posted on the page. Oh God, we were going to do that today. Be interesting to see if you know what the feet are like. So learn about as much as you can about how to keep that trim as natural as possible. Definitely should. Father time needs to be included on the board. Yeah, we've got that one. Oh yes, hold on. Father time needs to be included on the board because time is so important for rehab and healing. I like that.
I like that.
They like it.
Oh, we like shared ideas.
I like that. Father time must have a paper. Don't think he does. Of course. Oh, you think he should? Oh, you think he should?
A paper, or as in a newspaper?
No, I think she means a science paper.
Okay.
The story. We're creating our own story, aren't we? I love it. Of course, people don't look towards Mother Nature, says Dawn. Why do you think the planet is in such a state? People always think they have a better idea. Humans, that's what
Ain't
we
that
are.
The truth?
Maggie says, I searched for land first, then no neighbours. This is me. Land, no neighbours, and then the house is the afterthought. Yeah.
I have to say, though, at the moment, you have got absolutely awesome neighbours.
I've got him as a neighbour. We lived in a caravan for 6 months to get a kitchen and bedroom livable. 18 months later, I have my track stables and everywhere fence for my dogs. Loads to do on the house still, but my animals are happy. I love it. That makes us happy, doesn't it? It's priorities, right? Isn't it priorities? It's getting our priorities right, which is getting the animals right, tip-top, healthy, happy, physically and emotionally. And then we're happy, and then we can clear our heads and get on and do the right thing. Otherwise, we just get that emotion. We feed off all of that pathology, and it messes with our heads. Jackie says the worrying thing is the guy that did that to my mare runs a trimming school in Germany. Oh God.
Oh, that is so sad.
Oh.
You were going to shout out a name then, and then you stopped yourself. Good girl.
Oh. Going to do some research in a minute. My horses will never see another nail in their hooves. Never, says Christine. Good job. Good job.
No need for it. No
yes,
need for it.
Yes, and all these experts sell their courses too. So what's their problem at picking at you with all your free information and videos? Like I said, Lydia, like I said, look, you know, off you go. Go and start your own YouTube channel. Start giving out free information. Don't be terrified of that. Let people come and ask you questions. You're not going to know the answer to everything. Nobody ever does. But you're going to know the answer to most things, hopefully. And if you don't, that's scary, right? Because you should know. There's no way that Gary and I would sit here every night if we weren't confident with what we were doing. And the reason we're confident is because I am but a minion who is co-trimming, because I'm one of the descendants of Lucy, basically. So I am a minion that is just letting Mother Nature do its thing, but also understanding what needs to be done and how everything needs to be balanced.
And also understanding how everybody else has got it so bloody wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness me. It's just blinking everywhere.
It is everywhere. It is everywhere. Very quickly show you this, just so that we can, you know, fully reiterate what's going on here. This is a mare. This is a mare who, I mean, what would they do with this? Well, we know what they would do with this. I know we're over time, but I'm going to just show you a picture of this. So everybody that's listening to this as a podcast now has stopped driving their car, pulled over and gone, which picture is she showing now? Hold on. Here we go. So these are of a trim today. And we are helping this horse derotate from rotation and growing out her feet. And yes, all of this mess here, for those of you who follow the lives regularly, you'll have seen this horse before. All of this mess here has all been caused because of incorrect hoof care. So this is the new hoof that's growing down here, and this is the old hoof. But can you see how we have these diverging rings here? And yet what will happen here is this will steady itself eventually when the horn gets on the ground, but it's still diverging because we have no toe wall on the ground, and we have to wait now. So the only way that we can help this animal is by just doing this. This is as far as we can trim and make sure that these toe quarters are not proud of the plane, the heel plane, and then we have to kind of leave the rest of it alone. That's the only way you can trim an animal like this, and you have to get that balance perfectly perfect. And this is the other foot. Can you see? Can you see how the foot is trying to sort itself out? All of this excess materials coming down from the periople, that will clear eventually as that grows down. Still got diverging rings because we haven't got any of this on the ground. It looks crazy, right? And what would they want to do? They'd want to get in there and neaten all that up. They'd want to rasp through it just the way that they did before to expose all this epidermal lamina, because they would make it look nice and neat. You do that, hoof wall ends up back up here again. You have to let this get itself down on the ground. And doesn't that look a crazy mess? It really does look like a crazy mess. And look what's on the ground here. Sole. This poor horse has got absolutely no foot on the ground. This was it a few weeks before. You can see how much further up. And when this horse was shod and trimmed this way, this was up at the coronary band. So this is how much we've grown down. And it's really a slow process because there's nothing happening here. It's so slow. So for those people who say, rubbish, the horse doesn't grow at different rates from front to back and that there is no feedback going on, you take on a case like this then and you'll see, because we are going to wait months and months and months for this to get down on the ground. Months and months and months. So that's what unnatural hoof care does. And who did this? Humans. Who crippled this horse? Humans. We're not crippling them. This horse, we're keeping her back to where it's all we've got to play with, is keeping her down to her correct balance. That is human beings, folks, getting it wrong. Getting it wrong. I don't know how I got onto that, actually. Right, quickly finish off the because we need to get going. Quickly finish off what everybody says. Christine says, what resonated with me in the 15-day challenge is learning about 50 million years of evolution and the farming and industrialization, making everyone think horses are grazing animals. So much wrong information in the horse world. Now I know horses are forage animals. Makes so much sense. Yeah. I mean, sure, they'll pick, but they want to go off and they forage for the right. That's what they do. They don't just stick in an area and just graze. They will go off and they will forage for stuff. And absolutely, when you start learning about stuff like that, you're like, that's interesting. Karen says, that's so true, Lindsay. One of my horses was a complete and utter nut job when I got him. But since being on my track following the Phoenix Way, he's an absolute chill dream. How wonderful. You can't believe it, can you? And you know what's also awful about that? Is that there are lots and lots of horses that are put down every single day because they are deemed dangerous, because they're deemed nutters, because they bite and they have issues and people are frightened of them. And all it is an animal screaming as loud as it can, save me. I need to be with other horses. Stop keeping me like this. Stop trussing me up in a stable. Stop keeping me isolated. I don't need you. I need my herd. And then we just rip them away. I don't want this one anymore. I'll sell that. You know, 3 horses all being sold. They've been together for a long time. One will go in one direction, one will go in the other, and the other goes in the other direction. Nobody cares. Nobody thinks about the fact that that was their family that they've just split up. I'm never going to see them again. That messes with their heads deeply. Oh, they're just nutters. Randy says, have to go, bye, and see you all soon. Bye, Randy. I have a tiny house on wheels, was lucky enough to find beautiful 7 acres of old pasture, 3 acres tree lot, great spot, but neighbour to us, but we love where we live. Horses, shelter, track, etc. is finished before my tiny home. Yep. Chop, chop. Not me, Chopra. Chop. Yeah. Poor horse. I know. The so-called professionals would advise euthanasia. They would. But we are out there at the rock face all the time, rehabbing these animals that they put in that position. Laminitis didn't put that horse in that position. A human being did. Anyway, on that, thank you for joining us, folks. It's been lovely having you here this evening. Now, I do have some bad news. So those people who didn't watch all the way to the end won't know this. So it's up to you guys to tell them. I'm so sorry about this. It is bad news. Now, it's not the news that's saying that we're never going to do lives again. No.
You're just going to have to wait a little while. Our next live, as long as we get home in time, is next Tuesday.
It's going to be a whole week. You have to be without us.
So you've got a whole week without us because we are on a training camp or traveling or in transit or in the car or whatever. So yes, we're going to see you in a week.
So for those of you watching on YouTube a bit later on in the year, you'll be like, that's great. I'll just go on to the next one because that's all over.
I'll go on to the next day.
Yeah. So everything's being uploaded gradually to YouTube. We hope to have that finished this week. So then go, and if you've missed lives, go and watch those to fill in with your time. But yeah, time to catch up on previous lives. So you go for it, guys. Enjoy camp. I will. It's going to be fun. And we'll see you next Tuesday, a whole week. Have fun.
All being well.
All being well. Tuesday,
all
Wednesday,
being well.
Hopefully Tuesday. All right, guys. Tuesday. Take it easy. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Take care.